Well, contact improvisation is a dance form that's practiced by two or more people. And it's usually following a point of touching each other and letting that point of touch move around each other's bodies. It's athletic in that there's a lot of lifting and carrying and tumbling together, sometimes jumping on each other. There's a lot of flow to it, and there's a lot of movement in and out of the floor. And when I mean in and out of the floor, I mean all the way down to the floor with the whole body and your partners and back out again. So it sort of resembles bear cubs tumbling with a little more dance form connected to it. It has developed over the years really into contemporary dance's partnering form. It informs us in a different way than ballet partnering, for instance. It's not done with one person holding hands, holding the body and lifting as much as it's done with whole parts of the body rolling onto and over each other. Up and around the neck sometimes, sometimes falling together. It's improvisation, so it's obviously spontaneous. So there's a lot of technique in learning how to not hurt yourself and also how to excel. Contact improv was originated by Steve Paxton, who was a dancer from New York, who was teaching. At the time, he was studying martial arts in 1972, is when it was. He was studying martial arts along with his dance training, and was teaching at a college, a group of men, and he made a piece called Magnesium, and it really was these men diving at each other and colliding, and using their athletic skills to recover. Not unlike football players. And that was sort of the beginning of looking at the work as creative rather than athletic. And the first performances were called contact improvisations because someone would run at somebody and jump in the air and smash into them. And then the improvisation was the recovery. So that was the beginning of it. And it developed, it developed more and more safe techniques. It originally started on mats. And it was on mats probably for about 3 years, and then eventually developed into a hardwood floor dance form with a lot of technique and smoothing out of those collisions into ongoing dancing.
So as of July of this year, it's been about 18 years. And I didn't really become involved in contact until I moved to Vancouver. Previously I had done one workshop when I lived in Toronto. I was an actor and I was doing some physical training. So when I came to Vancouver, I was looking to do more physical training and someone pointed me towards EDM. And I came and did classes here, met Peter Bingham. And at first I hated contact. I just couldn't stand the physical intimacy of what contact provides or creates. And then I spent maybe a year just doing improvisation classes. And after that, I went back to contact and I loved it. And it's been a love affair ever since.
The person who's on top here wants to follow the action all the way to the floor. And the stabilizer there, I just got Monica doing. I first ran into contact improvisation from Nancy Stark-Smith. She was the first teacher that I encountered. And she came to Vancouver to teach a group of dancers who were working with Linda Rubin at the time and Synergy Movement workshops. So we were doing some contact work with Linda, but it wasn't really the form itself, and Nancy introduced the form, and that was 1976, January. So that was my introduction, and I sort of fell in love with it right away. It was very athletic, very spontaneous, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So as I'm coming through here, I feel the weight coming here.
Well, you know, we were all sort of teaching almost right away because nobody else knew the form. It was a brand new dance form. It was only 3 years old. So we were pretty much sharing what information we had with people who were interested and willing to learn, and that sort of developed into teaching over years. So I think it was originally more like sharing information, and then it became like disseminating information later, maybe 3 or 4 years later.
Yeah, there's a little catch and sink. And neither of them try to stabilize the weight this thing.
So it's really good flow away. As that person is, you're just looking for the transition.
You're looking for it just to keep it transitioning,
Yeah.
and not take a moment like, okay, I did that part. Now what's the next part?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's certainly gone way further than I would have expected it to. So it's hard to say. I kind of think it's one of those phenomenon that can turn itself into, you know, the world folk dance or something, because it's a way of communicating with people without talking, and so it, you know, it kind of breaks down a lot of barriers between people, and that you have to cooperate. It's not just like dancing next to somebody. It's spontaneous, so it's not like the steps are known. You have to be able to improvise. And there's safety, use each other's safety in regard to consider. So it's kind of a fairly new world.